We begin today the Gemara on Daf Lamed Ches Amud Beis, 11 lines up from the bottom of the Amud. The Gemara here is in the middle of discussing the halacha of a shavui, a person that got captured and he left his properties not being taken care of. So what do? Do we allow the closest relative that would inherit this person to go and take care of the property, to plant and to work there? So the Gemara brought before a machlokes between Rav and Shmuel about this. Here the Gemara brings a clear braisa where there's a machlokes tanoim. Sagt the Gemara, Umeriden karav lenichsi shavoi tanoihi. This question, whether we allow the closest relative to come and work in the property of the person that's captured, is a machlokes tanoim. Tanya, we learned in a braisa, hayered lenichsi shavoi, a person that enters into the property of someone that was captured and he's working there. We don't take him out from the property. We allow him to stay there and work. Here, in this case, actually, we'll see soon in the Gemara, it's talking about a case where there's a rumor that we heard that this person died. So in such a case, he's the inheritor, so we allow him to stay there. Yeah, it says in the Gemara, we don't take him out. It means even l'chatchila, he can go and work in the property. If this person hears that, in fact, the owner of the property, the relative, whoever it is, he's alive and he's coming back. There was a rumor that he died, but now he's here, he's coming. The person, the relative that was there working in the property, went and he takes fruits for himself, and he eats. Whatever he quickly takes for himself, before the owner comes back, he gains and he keeps for himself. He went into the property not to take care of the property until the owner comes back. He went into the property because he heard that the owner died, so he's the one that inherits it. So whatever he eats until the owner comes back, he can keep. That's how Rashi explains it. Even though the Rishonim actually ask on this, but now it turns out that the owner is alive, so why should he be allowed to go and take? But that's what Rashi says. Now, the case that we're talking about over here, the first case of this brisa, when we say that it's a person that was captured and you're allowed to go, the relative can go and work in the property. The case is that whether it's a father or a brother or anyone that he would inherit, they left overseas. So here it's not only the case where he was captured, but he went overseas. And there's a rumor that he died. So in such a case, as we said, he can go and work in the property. The next case of the brisa is, and this is the case that the argument was about before, a person that enters into a property of someone that left his property, and he left the property by force because he was captured. So yeah, the Tanakama says we don't allow him to work in the property. We're afraid that he might ruin the property because he knows the owner is going to come back, so he's trying to chaparain as much as possible to work, and he's not going to take care of it properly. That's the Tanakama. Now the Brisa spells out, what is this property that we say that the person left? If the father, brother, anyone that he would inherit, left and went overseas, and there is no rumor, we didn't hear that they died, any of them, these people that we just mentioned died. In such a case, we say that the person is not allowed to go into the property. And on this, Rav Shimon Gamliel argues, and he says, no shamaiti, I heard the halacha is, shanetushim kishvuyin, that a person that left his property by force, it's the same like the previous case where he got captured and there was a rumor that he died. Same halacha applies over here, just like there, we allow him to go into the property in this case as well. So here we clearly see it's a machlokes tanoim, this case regarding a person that got captured, that went overseas. A third case, the Brisa says, hayered lenichsei retushim, a person that goes into a property that are retushim. Retushim also means a property that the owner left it or deserted it, but it's not a property that the owner left it by force. It's a property that the owner willingly left it, and we don't know where he is. So in such a case, a relative that wants to go into this property and take care of it, here everybody agrees that we take him out. We don't allow him to work in this property. The owner left willingly, and he didn't let anybody know that you should take care of it, so we're not allowed to let anybody into the property. Now, the price spells out what's this third case. What's the case of properties that are called retushim? A father, brother, or one of the people that he would yashin kam. He's here. We don't. He left. He deserted his property, but we don't know where he went. He wasn't captured. He didn't go overseas. We don't know where he is. In such a case, because he left willingly, you're not allowed to go into his property. Now the Gemara explains now, this is the Braisa. The Gemara will explain the difference between the two expressions, nitushim and ritushim. They both basically mean that the owner left. So what's the difference between the two expressions? Ma'ishna hanach, why when it comes to the properties that the owner left by force, the karalo nitushim? We refer to it with the term nitushim. Or ma'ishna hani, the karalo ritushim. The other properties where he leaves willingly, the owner left willingly, we refer to it as ritushim. So the Gemara explains like this. Nitushim the bakarchach. Nitushim means that he left by force. The chsiv, we see this term in the pasuk by the mitzvah of shmita, vashvius, when it comes shmita to shmitena or netashta. Netashta means you leave it and you can't work there, and that's afkata the malka. This is because of the mitzvah. The king, the Eibishter, forces you that you shouldn't be working there in this time. So the term nitushim means that the owner left by force. Ritushim, the term ritushim means the midaitan. It means that the owner left willingly. The chsiv, as you see in another pasuk, it says, imal banim rutasha. If the children, rutasha, meaning that they're going to go away, they're going to run away because of a war. And Rashi here says the case is in the pasuk not that they're running away during the actual war where they're forced out, but they run away even before because of the fear that they have of the war that's coming. So that's a case where a person is leaving willingly. And therefore that term rutasha here means a person that deserts his property willingly. And in such a case, you're not allowed to go into his property to work in the property for him. Tane, in another brayse we learned, v'kulam. In all these cases that we said that the person is going to work in someone else's property that he left, that the owner of the property left and you're working in his property, shaman lahem ka'odis. So the worker gets paid for what he does here in the property like a regular sharecropper. Whatever percent the sharecropper takes, he gets that percent. Okay, now this brayse doesn't spell out exactly what case it's talking about. So we had before in the brayse we just quoted 3 different cases. So the Gemara now will ask, on what case is this going on? What case are we talking about? Ilema ashvuyin. Is it a case where the owner of the property was captured, and the case here is he was captured and we heard that he died? So why does it say here that he gets paid like a sharecropper? Hashte zoriz v'niska have. The brayse before said that he can eat whatever he wants as long until the owner comes back. He can take and eat whatever he wants. My dashbach mi boye. Does it have to come and tell me that he's going to get a share after the owner comes back? What he worked and what he improved and what he brought, that he's going to get his share? In other words, according to Rashi's pshat here in the Gemara, he's actually going to get, in addition to what he already ate when the owner wasn't here, he's also going to get a share from everything that he produced, that he worked over here. But it's obviously, it's understood, it's self-understood that he's going to get this share if we see that he can eat everything, whatever he wants. As long as the owner is not here, it's obvious that he gets a share for what he produced here. So that's not what is going on. El aratushim. So then you may think it goes in the last case the brayse before said, and that's the case where the owner left willingly. And this person that came to work in the property gets a share like a oris. But the Gemara says that can't be, because Bava Metzia is semiyadikatani. The brayse says that if the owner leaves willingly, no one's allowed to go into the property. Elo anatushim. So this case here where it says that the worker, the relative that's working in the property gets like a sharecropper, it's referring to the middle case where the owner was captured and left by force and we didn't hear that he died in such a case. So you're allowed to go and work there and you get paid like a sharecropper. But the Gemara asks, Laman, according to whose opinion are we saying this? Because before in the brayse there was machlekes about this. If it's according to the Rabbanon, the Rabbanon hold, even in this case, we take the person out of the property. You're not allowed to work in this property. And if it's according to Rab Shimon Gamliel that says that in such a case, when the owner left by force, ha'ama shamaiti shanatushim, that is kishvuyin. The expression Rab Shimon Gamliel said in the brayse is, I heard that the halacha is that the property where owner left by force, it's like a case where the owner was captured and we heard that he died, which is mashma, that just like in a case where the owner left and we heard that he died, that the person that's working in the property is allowed to eat whatever fruits he wants, as long as the owner is not here. It sounds like Reb Shimon Gamliel is saying the same thing, where the owner left by force and we didn't hear he died, he could also eat whatever he wants. So how can we say that he only gets the fruits from the property like a oris, like a sharecropper? So the Gemara answers, Reb Shimon Gamliel, when he compared it to, it wasn't compared 100%. Kishvuyin, this property where the owner left by force is like someone that got captured and we heard he died. V'lo shvuyin, and it's not exactly like that case. Kishvuyin, it's like that case where the person was captured and we heard he died. If he's working in this property, we're not going to take it away from him. But v'lo shvuyin doesn't have the same halacha like that person that we heard he died. The ilu hasam over there, if he was captured and we heard he died, zad is v'niska. The Braisa says until the owner comes back, you can eat whatever fruits you want, and even when you hear he's coming, you can chap it and take whatever fruits you want. But over here, if the owner got captured or he left overseas and we didn't hear he died, you're not allowed to take whatever fruits you want. You get paid just like a sharecropper, and that's what the Vikulam was going on. Okay, but then the Gemara asks on this though. Here we're saying that he only gets paid like a sharecropper. Why do we say that the person that's working in this property, he's a relative, and the owner the owner left by force, and he works there and he improves it, he only gets like a sharecropper? Why should this be any different from this that we learned in a Mishnah regarding what a husband gets when he works in the property of his wife, the nichse melug? In a Mishnah we learned, if a person, his wife brings into the marriage properties, which is called nichse melug, and the halacha of nichse melug is that the actual property itself belongs to his wife. But all the fruits, whatever the property produces, goes to the husband. So now the husband's working in the property while they're married, and he spends a lot of money into improving the property, and then it produces whatever it does. So now, whether he invested a lot and he only had a little fruit that he ate here, or kima, he invested very little, and he ended up gaining, and it produced a lot of fruits. And then later, what happened? The husband died, or he divorced her, and now she's taking back the property. What does the husband get for all this that he worked there during the time when he was married to his wife? Whatever he ate. Whatever he spent. He doesn't get anything else. Okay, so in other words, we're not going to say over here that after the husband divorces her, that he should get for all that he invested and all that he worked there like a sharecropper, like a artist. We don't say that. No, whatever he ate. Whatever he didn't. Finished. So why over here, when a person is captured and we allow this person to work in the property, why don't we say that whatever he ate, and whatever not? Why are we saying that he gets a share like an artist, like a sharecropper? So the Gemara answers, no. This is not. We can't compare our case, a relative that's working in someone's property that he was forced out, he left, to this case of a husband and a wife. Our case is compared to a different case. We're not going to say the Tnan. The Gerse is the Amar Rabbi Yehuda, I think it is, Amar Rav Chiste. That's what it is? Yeah, okay. So Rav Yehuda in the name of Rav Chiste said the following halacha. And this is also a husband and wife, but it's not a regular husband and wife. A person that invested money in the property of his wife, which is a katana, and this is a katana that's not married to him in Atayra. It's a katana that a mother or a brother married her off to him. The halacha by a katana is in such a kind of marriage midrabanan that there's a din of miyun. At any time, she could refuse the marriage and walk out without a get. Right, so in such a case, the husband spends all this money in his wife's, in this wife that's a katana. So over here, what's the halacha? Kemaitzi al nichse acher dami. So all the money that he invested here, it's like he's spending all this money on someone else's property. And what's the halacha? He gets paid like an artist, like a worker that was hired to work on someone else's property, or even without being hired. So the halacha is about this. But the point is, he gets paid like a worker on someone else's property. Now, what's the reason for this? Over here, it is a husband and wife, but it's not a regular husband and wife. It's a wife that she's just married to him with the Rabbanon, and she could walk out any time in the marriage. Now, what's the reason why he just gets paid like an artist, like someone else's property that he was working in? Alma, what we see from here is as follows. Since this husband is not relying on the fact that his wife, which is a ketana, will remain married to him. He's constantly concerned she may just walk out on him. So therefore, to kinele Rabbanan, the Rabbanan said that he should get his fair share as an artist, as a worker, a sharecropper. Because otherwise, if you're not going to be misakin that he gets this, the husband's going to say to himself, here, this is the property of my wife that may walk out of me in any minute. So let me just chaparain and get from this property as much as I can. And he's going to ruin the property. He's going to plant and use it in a way that's not good for the property. So therefore, Chachamim instituted that he should behave like a mensch and he should get his fair share as an artist. That's in such a case by a person with his wife, which is a ketana. So Hachanami, we could say the same svar over here regarding a relative that's taking care of the property of someone that got captured. To Kina Leirabanan, the Chachamim instituted for him that he should get paid like an oris, so that he shouldn't think to himself, I don't know, this guy may come back soon and he's gonna overuse the property and destroy it. No, he's gonna get paid like an oris, and therefore he's gonna take care of it properly. Now the Gemara goes back to the language of the statement that the Braisa says, "V'kulam shamalam ka'aris." So what does it mean, v'kulam? There's only one case here: a person that was captured, and we don't know if the guy's coming back. We didn't hear that he died, and we allow you to go and take care of it. So what's this term v'kulam? V'kulam la'asuye mai. All of the people. Is there another case over here? What else is it coming to include to say that if you're working in someone else's property, when the guy left, you get paid like a notice? Says the Gemara la'asuye adam Rav Nachman mashmul. It's coming to add another case which Rav Nachman said in the name of Shmuel, and that is shavoi shenishba. So first, the case that we had till now, a person that's captured, meridin karav l'nechasav, we allow a relative to be in the property and take care of it. But yotzel ladas, if the owner of the property left willingly and the property is just deserted, a relative can't go and take care of the property, as we learned before, because if the person left willingly, so then he doesn't want anyone to go into his property. He knows that he's leaving it and he can't go. Now, but Rav Nachman Didei Amar, Rav Nachman himself added and said, by reyach, a person that's running away, even though he's running away willingly, and he wasn't just forced out, but he's running away, Harehu kishavoi, he has the halacha like a person that was captured, and a relative could go into his property to take care of it while this person is away. Now this is the case. This is the other case when it said before v'kulon. This is the additional case that we're saying that over here the relative that works gets paid like an oris. The Gemara now clarifies, what's this bereach? Why did he run away? Bereach machmas mai. What caused this person to run away from his house, from his property? Ilema machmas karge. Did this person run away because there were taxes that he owed, and therefore he just wanted to avoid paying the taxes, so he skipped town? In such a case, hainu ladas. That's what Shmuel said, that the person just leaves calmly, willingly, and he has time to tell people, take care of my property, and he didn't. So in such a case, we're not allowed to go into his property. So Elamai, what did Rav Nachman mean? Elo bereach machmas martin. This is a person that ran away because he killed someone, and now he's afraid that they're going to come after him and they're going to kill him. So he ran away in such a hurry that he didn't get a chance to tell anybody to take care of his property. So in such a case, even though he's making a decision to leave, but because he leaves in a hurry, we know that he wants a relative to go into his property, and therefore a relative goes in and he gets paid also, like an oris. That's what the Braisa meant before. Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, Shavui Shenishba, this case of a person that was captured and he leaves his property just as is. And what happened was, V'yiniach kama liktzar, there's the grain there, that's the time of harvest, has to be cut, or anovim litzar, or the grapes have to be cut, or tomatim ligdar, the dates have to be cut, or zaysim limsaik, the olives of the tree have to be cut. So it's already in the end of the season, and it's all ready to be cut and stored or sold. Bezdin, Yarden, Nechasav. So the Bezdin goes into his property. Umamidin apetrupis. They bring an apetrupis, a caretaker, a shliach of the Bezdin. V'kaitzer, or baitzer, v'gaider, or maisik. And he takes care of all these different things, whatever kind of property it is, that it's the end of the season. It shouldn't just sit there and rot away. And then, later on, it's going to be now another season, and then to come and plant again, and so on. You bring a relative into the property, like we said before, and the relative is the one that will plant and take care. Now, the Gemara asks on this, if we see over here that there's a concept that we send an apetrupis, which is a shliach of the Bezdin, to take care of all these fruits in the time when they're ripe, to cut it and to store it or to sell it. So why don't we just, in such a case where a person got captured or a person had to run away, why don't we just bring a caretaker from the Bezdin to take care of the property later on as well? Not just in the case where you have these ripe fruits right now. That says the Gemara, apetrupe lidiknani loy makminan. And a caretaker of the Bezdin for a person which is mature, which is older, he's an adult, he has a beard. A person, in such a case, no one's going to want to be an apetrupis for him. An apetrupis is someone that's working on behalf of the Bezdin free of charge. He's going to do that for Yisaimim, Ketanim, that have nobody to take care of them. But over here, this is a person that's an adult and he had to run away or he's not here anymore. No one's going to want to be an apetrupis for this person. So therefore, later on, who's going to be the one that wants to take care of it? A relative, which is the person that would inherit this property. So therefore, later on, it's the, like we said, our entire sugya here, it's the relative, the one that takes care of the property. Amar Rav Huna said about this halacha regarding a person that was captured and where a relative is coming to take care of the property. If the closest relative, which is the one that would inherit, is a cotton, he cannot be brought into the property to take care of the property. And we also do not allow a relative to come into the property of a cotton. Meaning, if this is a property that the cotton inherited from his father, and then the cotton has a brother, that's his brother, and if the cotton dies, then the karev is the one that inherits from him. So this karev cannot be brought into the property if the cotton was captured. And v'loy karev machmas karev l'nichse cotton, and not a relative of a relative into the property of a cotton, which the Gemara will explain in a second. Okay, those are the three halachas that Rav Huna said. Now, what does this all mean? So the Gemara explains one by one. We don't allow a relative, which is a cotton, to be and take care of the property of a person that was captured. Why? Because he's a cotton. He doesn't know what he's doing. He can destroy the property. He's not responsible. Now, the last case that this Braisa said, "V'loi karev machmas karev l'nichse cotton." What does this mean? Ba'achi imo. What this means is when this karev of the person that got captured, and he's a karev that he would inherit the person that got captured because they share the same father. But now this karev also has his relative because they share the same mother. So this karev of his is not a karev to the person that actually got captured. They share the same mother. So such a person we don't bring into the property because we don't want him to then come and claim that this property belongs to me, that really I am just a shliach from my brother. We share the same mother and therefore I'm really taking care of his property. And the property does not belong to that guy that got captured because they share the same father. No, I'm the relative and I'm taking care of my brother's property because we share the same mother. So we don't want this confusion to happen. So therefore this relative of a relative is not allowed to come and take care of the property. And also the same thing, we don't allow a relative to go and take care of the property of a cotton because you can take advantage of this cotton. When the cotton comes back, you'll tell the cotton, this property doesn't belong to you. I inherited it. This is my share that I got from our father. This is not your share. So because a cotton you can take advantage from, we don't want even a relative, a brother, to go and take care of the property if this cotton is captured. And the Gemara says, since this cotton is a person that can't come and speak up for himself, he can't protest, he doesn't know what's going on. So whether the karev of the karev may come and possess it and claim it's his, or even the karev of this cotton, a brother, may come and claim it's his, so we don't allow him to go and work in the property. But who does? So in such a case, though, who's going to work in the property of a cotton that got captured? You're gonna have to bring someone else, not a relative. You're gonna have to bring stam, another person, a shliach of the bezdin, right, to take care of the property. So Amar Rava said, based on what Rav Huna said here, we can learn out another side halacha from this. Shma mina minei mid Rav Huna. From Rav Huna we could learn out ein machzikin b'nichse cotton, that if you are possessing the property of a cotton, and even if you're there for a while, you cannot claim possession over it. You can't establish a chazakah. What the Gemara is referring to over here is the halacha regarding any property is if you're in the property for 3 years and the owner that claims that he was the owner before does not make any protest, does not moich during this time, that's how you establish ownership in a property. You cannot claim it's yours. But if it's a property that you possessed for 3 years and the owner that claims that it was his is a cotton in this time period, you can't claim it's yours because the owner is a cotton and he doesn't know any better. Now, va'afile higdil, the Gemara over here says, and that's even if, when you enter into the property, that person that you're possessing the property from is a cotton. And later on, he became a gadol. And even though he became a gadol, and after this person became a gadol, you were there for 3 years. And this person is already a gadol and he was quiet during all those 3 years, you still cannot establish a chazakah. And the way the Gemara is proving this from what Rav Huna said is because from what Rav Huna said, we understood that regarding this property of a cotton, we don't allow a relative to take care of this property because we're afraid that the relative is going to claim that it's his. But we do allow a shliach of the bezdin or someone else to come and take care of the property. How do we allow someone else to come and take care of the property? Maybe that person is going to later on come and claim that he has the chazakah, that it's his, and this cotton wasn't moiche. Even if this cotton became a gadol, he wasn't moiche. It must be that because you're possessing this property while this person is a cotton, you can't claim that you have a chazakah over it. So therefore, there's no issue in allowing another person to come and take care of this property. Okay, now the Gemara goes back to the halacha that we said before, that we don't want to allow a relative to take care of the property of a cotton because he may take advantage of this cotton and claim that it's yours. So the Gemara here gives certain limitations to this. Now, when are we afraid of this? This is only said, what kind of a relative? A relative where they share the same father. So then in such a case, we're afraid that he could say, well, we share the same father. This is my share. This is what I yashin from my father. This is not your share. But if it's a brother that only shares the same mother, less lamba, then there's no concern, because over here, since they don't share the same father, so they don't yashin together b'chlal. So this relative is not going to come and claim that I'm the one that yashin this from our father. They don't have the same father b'chlal. So there's no concern in such a case. And furthermore, the Gemara says, "Va'achi da'abe." This that we said that if they share the same father, we don't want him to take care of the property of his brother. Nami lo yamaran. It will also. This wasn't said ela ba'arase. The concern is only regarding a property, a piece of property, a field where people don't necessarily know. There's no neighbors around that could know who's the one that really inherited this. Aval bebati. But if it's houses in a house, less lumba. Over here, we're not concerned that a relative would then claim that this is my house, because there's neighbors that are there that will know who the house belongs to. Furthermore, even regarding a property where there are no neighbors and people can't know, and he may come and claim that it's his, but that's only in a case where there wasn't the itidah. Itidah is the shtar that was written when they divided the inheritance. If there's a shtar that clearly says, and they divided the inheritance, then kala islay. So then there's a kail for this. Everybody knows exactly who got what portion, and therefore in such a case there's no concern of having the relative being in the property here. These are all the qualifications or the limitations that the Gemara says regarding this concern about a relative going into his brother's property to take care of it while he's captured and away. But now the Gemara says on this, v'loihi, all these qualifications are not true. Doesn't make a difference if it's a relative that share the same father, shares the same mother. Either way, this person might come and claim that he inherited it. Rashi says even by one that shares only the same mother, he may come to say, this property that you got from the father, it wasn't really the father's property. It was really the mother's property. It was nichsei melug, and therefore he's going to claim that it's his. And also, loishna arasa v'loishna bati, doesn't make a difference if it's a property or if it's a house, even though there's neighbors that know about this. And v'loishna avid idita, even if there was originally a shtar where it was written exactly the division of the properties. Loishna avid idita, whether loishna avid idita, loishna loy avid idita, whether there was this shtar of the division, whether there wasn't, it doesn't make a difference. Loy machsina, we don't want a relative to be in the property, because even in a case where there's a shtar or there's neighbors, it could be over a number of years and it could be forgotten, and this person will come and claim that it belongs to him. Okay, so now in connection to this, the Gemara brings a story that happened. There was this elderly woman, she had 3 daughters. Okay, so it's just this elderly woman with the 3 daughters. There's no other children here, and they're not married to anybody. So it's just these 3 daughters that would inherit her. Now what happened is, ishtaboy ihi v'chada brata. So this woman with one of her daughters were captured. Idach tarti benata. Now regarding the other 2 daughters that were not captured, shchive chada minayu. So one of them died, v'shavke yenuka, and she left a son, a child. And then there's still one daughter that's alive here. Okay, so now what do we do over here? This is the case we were talking about over here, where there's a person that gets captured, and then there's a relative that usually we allow to go and take care of the property. But we said before, though, that if it's a cotton, if you're taking care of the property of a cotton, you're not allowed. We don't allow a relative to take care of the property of a cotton, because you could take advantage of that cotton. So here becomes a problem. So Abaya says, Heichi Navid, what are we going to do in this case? Like should we give the property to this last daughter here that's still here alive? We can't do that, because maybe the mother, the older elderly woman, she passed away, and the ein meridin karayv lenichse cotton. So who's the one that inherits this property? The cotton is the one that inherits this property, and we can't allow a relative to take care of this property of a cotton.
The whole part of the nechasim here.
Again, true, he inherits part of the nechasim, so we can't give the entire nechasim to this sister, because maybe who's the owner here? The cotton. Part of it belongs to the cotton, right? So therefore now this sister, the last sister that's here, is taking care of the property of a cotton, and we're afraid that she then may come to claim that the whole thing is hers, like we said before. On the other hand, should we give the property to this child? And what the Gemara here means, the Mefarshim say, is that you should give half of the property maybe to the child and half of it to this sister. You can't say that either, because maybe the mother is still alive. And so even though this cotton would be also someone that would inherit that mother, the grandmother really, but a cotton is not allowed to take care, is not allowed to be allowed into a property of someone that's captured, because the cotton could destroy it and to ruin it. So you can't even give part of the property to this cotton if the mother's still alive. So what do we do here? So Abaye says what we do is like this. Hilkoch palge yavina lalachsa. Half of the property we do give to this sister which is still alive, and then there's no problem, because if the mother and the sister that was captured are not alive anymore, so then she gets half. And even if they are still alive, but she's a relative, and Maridin Kadev, she's a relative that takes care of the property of the mother that's still alive. That's not a problem. Now, v'idach palge, the other half that would have to go to the cotton itself cannot be in this property, as we explained before. So mekminalei apetrupa yanuka. So there's an apetrupas, the Bezdin sends a caretaker for this child to take care of his portion of the other half. Now, Rava Omar, regarding such a case, Rava says, since we already have to appoint an apotropos to take care of the half that the child has to yarshin here, so we say that apotropos should take care of the entire property, and over here we don't apply this concept of a relative taking care of the property of someone that's captured. Before, the Gemara asked on Omar Aleph the question, why shouldn't we say regarding any time that a person is captured, that instead of a relative taking care of the property, let a shliach of the Bezdin, the apotropos, take care. And the Gemara answered, no apotropos is going to do that. An apotropos is not interested in taking care of a property of someone that's an adult with a beard already. But over here, though, in this case, since we anyways have an apotropos on premises that's taking care of half of the property for the cotton, so in such a case, the relative, the sister that's still alive, is not going to be able to take care of the other half. We're going to give the apotropos to take care of the whole thing. That's what Rava says. Okay, now the Gemara continues the story that happened over here. Lusayif Shamu. In the end, they heard the Shchiv Safta. They heard that the mother, the elderly woman, she died. Now, regarding the sister that's still in captivity, that we don't know. She could still be alive. So now there's three potential Yarshim here: the sister that's still in captivity, another sister that's alive, and then the son, the cotton of the sister that died. So what do we do now? Omer Abaye says, Tilse Yavina Leila Achse. A third of the property we give to the sister that's alive that's here, because that for sure she inherits a third. The Tilse Yavina Leila Yanuke. And a third we give to the child as well, because for sure this Yanuke, Yarshin's a third. That's his. Ve'edach Tilse. Now there's another third here, which belongs to this sister that's still in captivity. And what do we do with that third? So Yavinon danke la'achse. Now we split that third into half, so which is a sixth. In other words, half of this last third, we give to the sister that's alive. And again, this is the reason why we give it to this sister that's alive, because she should get half of this last third here. Because if the sister that's in captivity is also dead, so then she gets half of this as well. If that sister that's in captivity is still alive, she's a karev, she's the sister, and she has to take care of that property. And the other half, which is a sixth, the other half of this third of the last sister that's in captivity, so makminale apotropoli yanuke. Again, the child can't take it himself, because we don't allow a child to take care of the properties of someone that's captured. So we have the apotropos of a Bezdin to take care of it. And again, regarding this case, Rava says, Migu the Maikim apotropos ledanke. Once we're already appointing an apotropos to take care of this sixth of the property for the child, so the apotropos takes care of the other part of the third, the other sixth here, that apotropos takes care of the whole thing, and we don't give the other sister to take care of her part.
The part that the kid himself got, that third.
That's his. It's a Yerusha. That's his Yerusha, because the mother died.
So you let him take care of himself.